Hello everybody, it's Anoushka here again, and it has been a while. I'm really glad to be back. Thank you for those of you who have been following me for some time now, and for those of you who are new. I haven't done anything on YouTube in a very long time because I need to take a break for myself, for my own emotional and mental well-being, and it was just part of the journey that I'm on, just to take some time to myself. To learn and develop a lot of my own personal lessons and my journey, but it's lovely to be back. I've been dying to get back to making videos with you guys, so here I am. And in this video I wanted to talk about what my thoughts are about this year and what we're coming into with the age of Aquarius and the crazy energy that's going on. You know, we've got so much going on in the world, a lot of fights for justice, fights for equality, whilst also going through a pandemic. It's really a time of birth, rebirth, a time of an emerging world that is not like the one that we've previously known, hence the chaos. Quite often when it comes to birth or rebirth, there's a chaos that ensues. You know, there is chaos that is the precursor to the new life or the new way of life that is being brought about. And so that's what a lot of what we're going through is about. The world is changing in a myriad of ways, and we know when the pandemic hit, I remember a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, you know, are we ever going to get back to normality? And the truth of the matter is, no, we're not. And not just because of the pandemic, and please understand, let me preface everything I'm about to say in this video, that these are my personal observations, my thoughts. This is the messages that I get, okay, that I intuit. So you don't have to agree with them, and I'm not saying this is a given for everybody, but this is the way I see it. So going back to what I was saying, no, we're not going to go back to the way things were, because we can't. An energetic shift is needed, and not just an energetic shift, a shift in the way that we treat our earth, a shift in the way that we treat each other, a shift in our socio-political, socio-economic situation. It's all necessary, and we've gotten to this pressure point now where it's a case of, no, you can't return to the past, we can't go back there. And there's something that we're having to learn. It's something that we really need to learn. And what with Uranus, which I will talk about more, Uranus being in the sign of Taurus, you know, Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Uranus is fixed air. You know, Taurus doesn't necessarily like to go against the status quo. It's a builder, and it builds in a slow, progressive kind of way, and in a slow kind of way. And then you've got Uranus, which is very progressive, and I think a lot of us are really shifting to this, the idea of letting go of the old ways of doing things. And it's going to be harder for people who aren't able to let go of the past, let go of the way the world used to be, people who don't want to shift into this new dynamic energy that we're being asked to shift into. They might find it a lot harder. So anyway, before I kind of get into that, what shall we start with? Okay, so how's about we start off with the fact that we are in the age of Aquarius now. At the beginnings of it, yes, but we are now in, sorry, itchy back, we are in the age of Aquarius. And so interesting to watch what's happening in the world. It's all, I find it fascinating and really exciting. It's so telling, it's so reflective of this new age that we are now in and that we are ushering in. And it's like anything, we human beings, in my humble opinion, can be quite disastrous at handling new energies. We just go wild with them until we know how to handle them. And I suppose it's like a little bit like being a child. We get a new toy and we're like, wow, and we play with it, we go crazy with it. And then we kind of calm down. We're like, okay, hang on, this is how this is meant to be used. This is how we're meant to treat this new way of being. And what I mean by that is, Aquarius is the sign that rules the humanitarian outlook when it comes to the way we live. It's about equality, no matter what your status is. Aquarius is about a global community. Aquarius is about communication, technology, and progression, and moving forwards, but in a way that is good for the all. You know, that's just a few things. It's about collaboration as well. And so, oh, actually, let me also add to that, you know, Aquarius is a really interesting sign because, you know, it is the water bearer, yes, okay, so a lot of people do associate Aquarius with water, and a lot of people mistakenly think it's a water sign, but it's not. It's an air sign. It's fixed air. Now, with Aquarius, I find that identity is a very interesting issue. What our identity is, how we fit into the global community, and it is the only sign that is actually what do you call it, depicted by an actual man, a human. You know, you've got Sagittarius, which is half man, half horse, but Aquarius is a human, with that jug, pouring that jug. And so I find this really interesting, especially as the whole gender identity topic has become a lot bigger. What gender identity is about, how we see ourselves in terms of sexual or even non-sexual beings, how we may label ourselves or choose not to label ourselves. And this has become a really big topic. We are realizing, I mean, so many of us, including myself, are being educated as to the fact that there's more than just a few genders. There's this, you know, people have a myriad of ways of expressing their gender and sexual preferences and of what fits with who they really are. And I find that really interesting because Aquarius is a very androgynous sign. It's got this essence of being neither masculine nor feminine. There's a lot of androgyny when it comes to the Aquarian sign, and so we're seeing also in fashion. I've noticed a lot of androgynous fashion. If you think of artists like Billie Eilish, she really rocks that androgynous look. So this kind of comes into the whole thing of Aquarius. Of Aquarius doesn't like to be pinned down and told, right, you are male and you are female. You must, as such, you must be like this, and as, you know, as a male, you must be like this. And Aquarius rebels against the status quo and says, no, I will express myself freely in whatever way is my truth. And that's another thing with Aquarius, my truth, my individual truth. So we're seeing that come out in this way. And like I said, it even reflects in the fashion. Another thing that's interesting with this Aquarian energy is that it's air energy, okay? It's air energy that is also associated with things like astrology, the esoteric. Aquarius, Uranus, which rules Aquarius, it's the ruling planet of Aquarius. Uranus rules the higher mind. So whereas you have Mercury, which is your more mundane mind, you know, your logical mind, how we learn, how we figure things out, our processes, how we communicate. Aquarius is that kind of flash of brilliance. It's that knowing, that gnosis. Sometimes you can know something without knowing how you know it. You can get an insight into something that's just like the sudden spark. Uranus is associated with those kind of sparks. And so, what was my point? What was I talking about? I'm getting too excited. So, Aquarius values these inspired ways of looking at life. It's kind of bringing that inspiration, that godly knowledge, that esoteric knowledge, that high-minded knowledge, pulling it down, you know. And this is, I think, what we're learning at the moment, or we're going to really start learning, is how to pull that higher knowledge down into our everyday experience and ground it in reality, because it's no good having those flashes of genius, having those insights, that moment of enlightenment, without being able to somehow allow it to affect us on the mundane, everyday level, to be able to live that truth that we've realized. And so with this, I find that the intangible is starting to be more and more appreciated and valued. We've been very status driven. We've been very Capricornian in a lot of ways. And this is interesting because Uranus and Saturn are actually squaring off at a few points, 3 major times this year, but they're really in square aspect the whole of the year, which is an aspect of tension. And what did I say? Saturn and Uranus, you know, you've got that earth energy, and Saturn is very much a physical, you know, it's a physical, it symbolizes the physicality of things, its structure, its bones. You know, when I think of Saturn, I think of a square, I think of that solid form. Uranus is almost formless, you know, Uranus darts about here and there. So it's interesting how we're trying to bring this inspiration in and ground it, and yet we've got these 2 planets squaring off in tension, almost like we're trying to find that balance between how we respect tradition, we respect what we've built, Saturn, and yet also bring in the new and the ingenious and the progressive, Uranus. And so we are starting to value more intangible things. We are starting to value experiences over just material objects. And we have been, this is what I was saying, we have been in an age where it's really been about consumerism. It's really been about how much stuff can we have, how much money do you have, how big is your house, how many cars do you have. And if you're still stuck in this mentality, if you are very materialistic now, you might find this a difficult transit. But that said, everybody is different. For some of us, and this is something I've wanted to say for a long time, we tend to think that everyone needs to be the same way. You know, materialism is bad. There are those of us who actually, when you look at their birth charts, it would do them some good to actually connect with their material resources better, because they are too flighty, they are too stuck up there in the ether. They need to come down and ground with reality to learn the value of money, to learn the value of possessions and how to treat them. So not everything applies for everyone, but as society as a whole, especially Western society, yes, there has been a lot of emphasis, especially since the Industrial Revolution, on what we have, the tangible and the physical resources we have. So now with this Aquarian energy, we're starting to value things, like I said, like knowledge, like wisdom. Age-old wisdom is starting to resurface. Age-old spirituality and understanding is starting to resurface. Things are being brought to light that maybe haven't been known or haven't been popular for a long time. Truths are coming out from the woodwork in all sorts of ways. And I think it's really such an exciting and fascinating time to be alive. And so this is why we're finding that things like astrology and mythology, people are becoming a lot more interested in them. Again, this is intangible, but at the same time there's wisdom in it, and there's knowledge, there's learning in it, and we can apply this knowledge to self and to our society as a whole, hopefully for the betterment of man, because that is what Aquarius wants. Aquarius wants essentially the golden age of man, for man to be coming from that higher minded place and relating to one another as equals, no matter the differences. And it's not about us all thinking the same way and being the same way. It's you be yourself individually, you be your own unique, beautiful presence, and yet let's all be equal. Let's all be equal as individuals. That is the beauty of Aquarius, and work in collaboration with each other and with the earth. Again, this is another thing that's happening, you know, with this Aquarian energy, is that, and especially with Uranus there in Taurus, Taurus is earth energy. Taurus is a beautiful, abundant goddess energy. That's Taurus. It's very much about your physical senses. It's about the abundance of the earth, what it provides us with. It's the beauty of things. It's that visceral, the taste in your mouth, you know, the flavor when you bite into a juicy nectarine, you know, that makes your mouth water. It's those rich physical experiences that come from the earth, that come from our senses, you know, our physical body, that allows us to experience those things. And then with Uranus there, in that sign, Uranus, the sign of the, Uranus, the planet of change and disruption, but also forward movement and progression, is saying, okay, how are we going to change the way that we treat the earth? How are we going to change our relationship, our global Aquarius, okay? Aquarius, Uranus, global relationship, which is Taurus is, you know, ruled by Venus. That's a relationship planet. How are we going to change our relationship with the earth? How are we going to move forward as a society? Again, Aquarius as a society, but respecting our earth. You know, we're going into this new dawn with the earth, in harmony with the earth. Because if we don't, she will shake us off. She'll be like a dog with fleas on it, and she will just shake us off. You know, she's moving into this new vibration, you know, this 5D world, essentially, and we are being asked to raise our vibration, to come into alignment with this higher vision for planet Earth, and for us as humans, if we choose to go with it. And a lot of us are choosing to, which is why there's been this huge explosion in consciousness, which is really beautiful to see. I mean, there was a time when if I were to tell somebody that I study astrology, there was a time only 10 years ago where it would have been like, okay, the majority of people. Whereas now, I mean, I work a day job, and I've only been there now, I don't know, it's probably coming up on 2 months. But when I told people, I was like, yeah, you know, I studied astrology, I'm a qualified astrologer, and it's something I'm very passionate about. So many people are like, oh my god, I love astrology, I love astrology, I love astrology. You've seen this change. People are so much more open, people are inquisitive, and that's beautiful. And I think that's something we can really take into this new world, is having an inquisitive attitude. Instead of shutting down and saying, no, I know everything, that doesn't work, that won't work, that won't work. Let's be inquisitive about life. How could things be improved? Could this way of looking at things work? Could this way of doing things be better? Saying that, on that tangent, what's really interesting is my partner actually told me about a scientific, I think it was something to do with quantum physics. It was a study recently where they suggested that actually there is a good chance that perhaps the spirit might go to live on past physical life. Thank you so much for joining us, science. It's nice to have you here at the party. But, you know, science is moving forward, and we're starting to entertain things that before were like a hard no, or a, no, that's, you know, is that really, that can't be possible. And it's about being open-minded, and Aquarius is a very open-minded sign. I think for those of us who are very much connected to the status quo, people who have a bit more of a traditional view of the world, this could be a challenging time, especially when it comes to ideology. We're seeing a lot of battles at the moment out there when it comes to ideology. And I think if you are inflexible, if you have a rigid ideology, this is going to be a difficult time where you might find yourself being triggered and angered by a lot of what you're seeing or what you're hearing. Ideology has become a very interesting battleground recently. And again, this is something that I feel like we're taking to extremes. It's great to be liberated. It's great to, you know, it's this whole thing about the far left against the far right. And it seems like it's almost fashionable to have a cause. Whether you believe in it or not, whether you really know what you're talking about or not, everyone seems to want to jump on the bandwagon of having a cause just so they can say they have a cause. This is a dangerous thing because I can see so much fighting happening between people. It's kind of segregation, and this is not what this is not what this energy is about. This is not what it should be used for. It is good, it is healthy to be able to have discussions about anything. It is healthy to be able to have open, civil, and intellectual discussion about the topics that are of importance right now. But what I think I'm finding anyway, and I know a few other people are noticing, is ideology and people's personal beliefs have become, we've gotten so fired up about them that it's almost like there seems to be a sudden censorship that's happening. You have a right to have your beliefs, but when somebody with an opposing belief states their opinion or has something to say, to shut them down and shame them or try and cancel them or dox them or something like this, this is such an unhealthy way to treat this energy. And this is what I meant at the beginning of the video where I said, it's like we're toddlers playing with a new toy and we don't know how to treat it yet. It's great that a lot more of us are becoming interested in ideology and belief systems and how important they are, because they're the structure of essentially how we live and how we treat one another. But when that very thing is being used to mistreat other people, to stop them from having a voice, we get into very dangerous territory where people are afraid to say what they really feel, where very intelligent people with valid arguments or points could not be telling their own truth and giving their own valuable perspective because they're afraid of the far right or the far left or whoever, whatever group, shutting them down and saying, no, you can't say that because it's offensive to this. We've all become a little bit too offended about everything, I think. Not all of us, but so many people. There's a balance to be had here. It's about being able to have open discussion, fair-minded, open-minded, and fine, let it be impassioned discussion, without taking offense to every single little thing that is said. It's about being respectful and allowing people to state their opinion. None of us has it completely right, and the only way that we're going to find the right way forward is by coming to the middle, the center point. So talking a bit more about Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius. Uranus, unlike the other planets, is not a god. Uranus in Greek mythology was actually he ruled, if you like, he was the personification of the heavens. Okay, and I find this very interesting to think about because it ties into the idea of transcendence, and a lot of people saying this is what we're going through now. We're going through an energetic shift. There's a raising in consciousness, a raising in awareness, and so essentially what that is it's a transcendence. And so when you think transcendence, you think transcending higher towards the sky, and Uranus is essentially the heavens. So it's that, and it is that heavenly kind of inspirational mind that sees more, that sees a broader picture, you know, rather than it's just focused like this. It's kind of there, you know, that God mind, if you like, which I don't mean literally, but kind of like, you know, that larger, more cosmic mind. There we go, that's the word I was looking for. Uranus was also the son and husband of Gaia, goddess Gaia, which is, you know, if you don't know who Gaia is Earth goddess, Mother Earth energy. So yes, I know, son and husband, weird, but hey, I guess when you're a god and there's only a few of you, these things can happen. Uranus was the husband of Gaia, and it was the union between Gaia and Uranus that created the Titans. These Titans were the pre-Olympian gods, and they numbered 12, that good old number 12, 12 months in the year, 12 apostles, 12 hours in the day. Very interesting. The union of heaven and earth, the heavens and earth created, you know, I know there's more than 12 hours in a day, but you know what I mean. 12 hours, 24, you know what I'm saying. The clock goes from 12 to 12. Anyway, so yes, it was Uranus and Gaia who created the Titans. And if you don't know not that much about the Titans, you know, look it up, but I am thinking about doing a video on the Titans soon. We're the children of the union of the earth and the heavens, and it makes me wonder, moving into this age of Aquarius, you know, we are born of the earth. As human beings, our bodies are of the earth. But now we're coming into this age of Aquarius, ruled by the planet Uranus. Are we being asked to transcend, to become the children of heaven and the earth, to become that midpoint, holding that beautiful wisdom, that cosmic knowledge that we are opening up to now? So much more, especially with all of the different energies that are hitting the earth, that are coming from the Milky Way, the center of our from the center of our galaxy. Are we being asked to open up? This is why letting go of judgments and outdated beliefs is such a good thing, because the more you do that, the more you open yourself up, the less you're holding on to things that no longer serve you. You're opening up to that cosmic energy that allows you to hold more in yourself, energetically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all sorts. Is that what we're being asked to do? To re-establish ourselves as the children of the earth and the air, knowing that we are spirit embodied by clay, bringing into balance our highest nature, our higher mind, as shown by Aquarius, Uranus, whilst at the same time honoring our earth and our human form. Are we in essence being asked to be our own version of the Titans? I don't know, but it was something I thought about one day, and I thought, oh, I love that. I love that symbolism of taking earth energy, earth wisdom, and us coming up into this Uranian energy and uniting and being that bridge between the heavens and the earth embodied within ourselves, because then we would be like, it would be the golden age of man, wouldn't it? We would be like gods ourselves. And I'm not saying that in a what you call it, I'm not saying that in a, oh my god, you know, with like big-headed kind of way. Sorry, my cat's just, he scares me every time he does that. He throws himself at the door whenever he wants to come in. And I'm not trying to be, you know, some people take offense at saying godlike, but we have our own power. We can do so much more than we realize. And even Jesus in the Bible said, all this you can do and more. So it's just a question. But anyway, that is a short breakdown of what I'm feeling about this energy, this Aquarian energy that we have now moved into. I was going to talk about this square energy that's going on with Uranus and Saturn, which I have mentioned a bit, but I think I might leave that to a separate video, go into depth with that a little bit more. I think it'd be quite interesting. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I just want to say to you guys, I'm so thankful to be back, and thank you for standing by whilst I've been away. I'm going to be taking this channel in some interesting directions, which I think you'll enjoy, and I'm really looking forward to doing, so please stay with me. I'm not going to be doing horoscopes just yet, astrology forecasts just yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to treat that. I've got a few ideas as to what I might do, but doing the astrological readings for the 12 signs plus doing the tarot readings was a lot added to what I wanted to do, and also my day job. So I may tweak things, I don't know. I've got ideas as to how to move forward, but just watch this space because there's some really cool stuff that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Thank you so much for visiting, and my love to you all. Take care.